everybody, welcome back to the Nebula Club. So for today's video, I'm going to talk to you about January 2020 and onwards. Just really basically from now until the end of January, and a little bit of touching into March, but I'm just going to stick to the energies that we've been experiencing so far, especially since the Saturn and Pluto conjunction. For starters, I'd like to say a big thank you to everybody. I've reached 1,000 subscribers, and I mean, I'm really glad. I'm really happy for all the support, the comments, the likes, the shares. You guys are amazing. I'm so thankful, so thankful. Big thank you for all of your support, your comments, everything. Like, oh, thank you. Let's jump right in because it's been crazy. January 2020 started off with a bang. I don't know for other people, but it started off with a bang. And it's essentially what I've recognized. By the way, I'm looking down at my notes. I have like 3 pages worth of notes I'll filter through. But if I look down or look that way, Planet Watcher's over there, and excuse me, I'm looking at my notes. So yeah, it's a crazy time. We're really seeing how changes are being put into effect, especially ever since that Saturn and Pluto conjunction, the lunar eclipse in Cancer, and Uranus in Taurus going direct. This past weekend, it's like one thing after another after another. It's like life is finding a way to push you in a direction, to give you some type of clue, signal, whatever you want to call it, to kind of push if you're not making, the choices that you need to make to get to where you want to be. Because essentially, a lot of this is ushering a lot of changes for, whenever Saturn goes into Aquarius and so on and so forth. But just for like the times we're in now, just mid-January, it's insane the amount of things that have been going on so far. But at the same time, if you know the astrology, it's kind of like, yeah, it was expected. But as a result of people being unapologetic about their emotional state, really making sure that their reality resonates with how they feel. It's caused a lot of shifts, a lot of upheavals, a lot of people making choices that other people didn't expect, or, going or embarking on adventures or journeys or paths in your life that you maybe always wanted to but lacked the courage to do so in the past. Whatever it may be, there's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of forward movement. There's a lot of progression. There's a lot of cardinal energy. It's like power to just move, to do. We are in Capricorn season 2. We are in Capricorn season 2, of course. The best way I can describe this is kind of like firecrackers just going off. You just never know. One day you hear, yeah, I'm doing this, and the next day it's like, I changed my mind. I'm going to go into this entirely different direction because this is where I've always wanted to go. It's just people are resonating with their true internal state. You can't hide how you feel about things. Even if it takes 20 years, it doesn't matter about the time. How you feel will come to the surface. There's going to be a lot of shifts happening as they've already begun. And the shifts happening are just really propelling you towards the reality that you want to live. And really, it's more so helping restructure boundaries and limitations that have been there. Whether it's been there for a decade, whether it's been there for 5 years, or just a mindset or a mentality you've always had. Whatever needs to change, whatever needs to move forward, whatever needs to progress, it's going to happen in some way, shape, or form. Because we're moving towards a time where, as I'll get to it eventually, where it's going to be Saturn being in Aquarius, and that's a whole new ballgame. A lot of the changes that are happening, people are recognizing that maybe it was just long overdue. Maybe it's just something that they finally have the courage to do, and they're not going to back down from how they feel, or situations in life where you're at a crossroads and something happens that pushes you in a direction or forces you to pick a side, pick a direction, pick the place that you want to go towards. But the thing is, you really want to make sure that you resonate with the direction that you're going into. You truly resonate at your emotional core towards what it is that you're manifesting for yourself and creating for your life and your reality. Another thing too is the whole concept of karma. For lack of better terms, it's like there's more awareness that, yeah, your actions do have consequences. good or bad. It's like you have to be able to make sure that you move in a way that doesn't build you negative karma, so to speak. Now's not the time to act like you don't have emotional intelligence, because that will weigh you down. With all this Capricorn energy, if you're feeling negative, or if you have any, like, how do I say this? Any negative feelings or depressing thoughts weigh heavier, and it'll be a lot more difficult to get out of. You can essentially create your own mental prison, especially when we go into Aquarius season and you don't really, resolve or build or do the things that you want to do during Capricorn season. Because when Aquarius season hits, you don't want to have built a mental prison. You want to be able to, how do I say this? Well, when I get to Aquarius section, I'll go into that, because that's a whole other thing of itself. But essentially, keep in mind, to some degree, we don't get what we want, we don't get what we need, we get what we deserve. So if you are in a situation that you're not particularly happy with, you got yourself in that situation. If you're in a situation where you're happy, you build that up for yourself. So it's like, be aware of the actions that you're taking and the paths that you're taking and how that leads to where you are, and also how that builds towards your future. And there's a lot of broken hearts, people trying to figure out, whether or not they're going to be happy, whether or not they can find love. I mean, I've had all kinds of questions, especially in terms of just natal inquiries, where it's like the same thing kind of shows up, and it's like, whatever happens, it's literally for quote unquote the better, especially if you know that deep down that a situation isn't healthy or is toxic, and you have to make the necessary moves to transform your life. Well, this is life forcing you to transform things that are no longer conducive to your well-being, or things that are not in alignment with you, because that's more so what I'm trying to get at. It's the whole concept of being aligned and alignment. Whatever you're aligned with, or you're aligning yourself to, that's what you will attract or manifest. Excuse me. Because it's not that, there's good and bad. Obviously there is, but in the context of this situation or this discussion, the whole concept of good and bad isn't the point. It's, what do you resonate with? What are you aligned with? Who are you aligned with? Going through the motions. But in this context, in this time period, the motions and the consequences themselves can be very hard hitting. They hit reality hard. They can be very, how do you say, just, they force you to look at the reality of a lot of things, not just your external life, but yourself and your internal world, and why you do some of the things that you do. So yeah, don't be surprised when people just make crazy decisions that, you may feel is not good, and it probably isn't, but it is what it is, essentially. And there will be a time of reckoning when people recognize, okay, this worked or this didn't work, and you just reevaluate and you keep it moving. Because the craziness that's been January so far, and I don't mean like, oh my god, things are too bad, it's just there's a lot of changes happening, and it would be weird or crazy not to expect changes. It's what's necessary to break the previous boundaries, to restructure things, especially before the new year in March, whenever the sun ingresses into Aries. And that's a whole other video, but I'll touch into that. One of the main important things about this time period, this transit period, especially before Capricorn season ends, kind of, is having emotional integrity. I keep talking about this, especially on my Instagram. It's like, emotional integrity is the difference between you going in a direction that you want, and going in a direction that you want, but you don't really want it. You have to keep it real with how you feel about things now. Otherwise, you can build something up nicely, and then you recognize that in order for you to escape this prison you've built or whatever, you have to tear it down. And that sucks, destruction sucks. Especially when you don't really want to, but you kind of have to. You at the end of the day, you're going to do what you got to do. So make sure that you maintain emotional integrity, so that way, that accent. Make sure you maintain emotional integrity, so that way you feel good whenever you put in the work towards the life that you want to build or manifest or create or see or realize. This is a time where you keep it real. Whatever needs to come out is going to come out. Whatever you need to release from your heart, from your chest, from whatever is weighing you down, release it. Talk about it. Let it out. It's not a time to be weighed down by things. It's not a time to be buried in just emotional states that fester. It's not healthy. It's first of all, it's not healthy in general, but it's not going to help you manifest what it is that you want to manifest, because again, the Capricorn energy is heavy. It's heavy and it's intense. So if you're harboring a lot of things that you know you need to face or let go of, now is the time to do it. Like, be direct. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It'll bring you a lot more peace, because you don't want to keep dragging things that weigh you down further into 2020. Tie up the loose ends right now. This is definitely to prepare for whenever Saturn goes into Aquarius, because when Saturn goes into Aquarius, we no longer can rely on the physical reality to speak our truth. The truth that will be evident is going to come from you. It's going to come from the essence of who you are and the work that you do, and whether or not you can stand by who you've built yourself up to be. This is a time where the real ones are going to be recognized. I mean, they're being recognized now, but when Saturn goes into Aquarius, this is a whole new ball game. Keep it real right now. That way, whenever it's Saturn Aquarius time, it'll be a lot easier to just maintain and build upon what you've already developed for yourself. Because when Saturn goes into Aquarius, I mean, it's Aquarian energy. I can't tell you like, oh yeah, this is going to happen. No, nobody knows this is going to happen, but it's going to be a time where you can't fake the funk. Try lying to an Aquarius. They already knew that you were going to lie just based off of the patterns they saw from you. It's insane, but Saturn Aquarius is not going to be a time to play. If Saturn in Capricorn is already a time where shit's getting real, Saturn in Aquarius, you can lose your mind if you don't come to your senses. If you don't keep your emotional integrity. Because you have to be really solid in the foundation of who you are, because you've spent all of Saturn in Capricorn building that up, no? This is definitely a time to work hard and play hard. Personally, the way I grew up, there was school, before we met up with the family in one part of the globe, we kind of just, I understood personally, okay, I have to get through school. When summer vacation hits, then we're going to go visit family. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to do that. So this whole concept of like, work hard, play harder has been a part of me. So this whole concept of work hard and play hard is Capricorn energy. That's why they're pimps, low-key. Like, if they want something from you, like, they got the human resources on lock. Jokes aside though, this is a time where you work hard. And you don't just work hard, you work smart, then you work hard. Know what it is that you're putting work towards. Otherwise, you're just working hard. And one time I read online, there was this article about, there was an article and it talked about how people work hard for like 20, 30 years and they're still in the same spot. Meanwhile, you got people who work smart and they're not. It's like, you can work hard all you want, but if the work that you're doing isn't building something up, isn't leveling you up in some way, isn't progressing you into some phase, you're kind of running in place, right? Be mindful. Keep in mind just the nature of Capricorn energy. Things are sorting themselves out. People are truly rebirthing into their own greatness. They're recognizing who they are, how they feel about things, how they feel about the world around them, how they feel about everything that they've built up. And if there is no satisfaction in that, it's going to go. It's going to demolish. Something's going to happen to where the changes will have to be made. The conjunctions and the lunar eclipses that happened this past weekend, it began a large part of this whole dynamic, because it really pushed forth the momentum needed to be the catalyst for the change. It's a lot of cardinal energy, and it's helped to bring to light what needs to be cleaned up. Organize everything. Get a sheet of paper and pencil. Keep it simple. Sheet of paper, pencil, restructure things. Whether it's I want to live in this country or move there or go back to school or go to school, whatever it is that you want to do, get a sheet of paper, pencil, plan it. Always start with the basics. Keep it simple. Now is not the time to overload yourself, to make it seem like you're accomplishing something, to make it seem like you're doing something. Busy work is not work. Do the real thing. Do the real work, and you will see the progress that you want. So I'm going to go into the dates right quick. Oops. So on January 16th, Mercury is going to go into Aquarius. And when Mercury goes into Aquarius, this is going to be a time where assimilate what it is that you're perceiving. Like, it's kind of like osmosis. Just look at what it is that you're perceiving and allow it to make sense to you. This is going to be a time where, as a collective, our thoughts are really tapping into the etheric state of things, into the air, into just the how do you say it? Like, imagine like you have your little antennas and you're like beep 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 beep. Okay, who am I going to connect with? Who am I going to talk to? You're connecting with people based off of your own core frequency, and not just people, but places, things, ideas, books, movies, everything that has to do with Mercury. You're connecting based off of your internal core frequency. You're connecting based off of your internal core frequency. And Mars is squaring my Mercury and my Sun and my Ascendant, so that's, yeah. Anyways, Neptune is opposing like my Virgo energy, so it's like, yeah. Really though, if you're a mutable sign, you're going through it. You're going through it heavy, especially with all the Neptunian energy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. So, just do your best, What is it? What is that movie? Like, Bird's Eye? Bird Box. That's kind of how it feels. It's like, you feel like you can see what you're looking at until you realize what you're looking at isn't what you're seeing. And you're just like, I didn't ask for this. Mercury in Aquarius. Tap into your own internal frequency. Connect with like-minded individuals. This is a great time to expand your horizons. And I mean that in every which way. Go out there and experience. Go talk to people. Connect with people. Create a group. Create an organization. Or, how do you say, like, make a group of friends that you can be your authentic self with if you don't already have it. And if you do already have it, expand upon that. But just in general, Mercury in Aquarius is going to be a great time for our minds to no longer be so constricted, but now be free and open to just whoosh, On the 18th, Mercury in Aquarius is going to square Uranus in Taurus. This is going to be a time where you really have to expect the unexpected, or just be open to things not necessarily going as planned or as projected, but more so having the mental faculties to come up with innovative solutions to a situation or an experience, or just, whatever comes up. Mercury square Uranus, it's forced innovation due to changes or due to just mishaps or things happening that are outside of your control, or things that you didn't see coming or expect. This is not going to be a time where you plan stuff. This is not a good time to pay attention to detailed things, because again, it's just too erratic. The energies are way too erratic. So, whenever on January 18th, whenever Mercury squares Uranus, just be mindful. Just be mindful of letting yourself just go with the flow, and be flexible. That's the word I'm looking for. Be flexible, especially in your state of mind and how you process things and how you overcome things. The square aspect that Uranus and Taurus makes is going to force you to change something, to change, whether it's how you think, whether it's an idea. It could be something even as simple as, you know, say you're baking a pizza and you're wondering if adding egg is gonna make a difference to the flavor, and you're just like, let me add some eggs, and you do, and it works out. You know, that's kind of just contextualized Mercury square Uranus, where you allow your mind to just make things work by thinking in a different way, by innovating how you go about things, how you solve problems. It's also going to add a lot of energy to just the mind, mental faculties in general. So, you know, if you have already a lot of energy, you know, that can borderline like anxiety or like just nervousness or ADHD, whatever, just be mindful. The energies themselves are going to be pretty potent and erratic, in the sense you can have a restless mind. So this can be a good time to just chill mentally, do something that doesn't necessarily require you to think too hard or too much, but whatever comes up, you know that you have the mental awareness and intellect and capacity to find a solution to deal with it, essentially. On January 20th, the sun is ingressing into Aquarius, and it's going to be officially Aquarius season. And this is very pivotal because this is going to be that season before Saturn hits Aquarius, and then it's going to retrograde, and it's going to go into Aquarius fully, right? But when Aquarius season hits, really allow yourself to live authentically with what you know yourself to be. Everything that you know. That's the Aquarius, right? Everything that you just know about yourself. Be authentically you. Be unapologetically you. Because this is a great time to kind of work out the kinks as to where you're not really being yourself, where you're not really emotionally connected while Saturn is still in Capricorn. Because when Saturn is in Aquarius, we're hitting the ethers, we're transcending that top of the mountain. It's going to be a whole different ballgame. So now is really the time where be you, do you, live, be. You know what you know, and what you don't know, you'll eventually find out, or you don't need to know. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, because during Aquarius season, especially this Aquarius season, we're going to see how much distraction, and I say distraction loosely, but how many stimulating things are around us that we don't really need to pay attention to. Your currency is very valuable, so don't just spend it on anything, January 24th, we're having the Aquarius new moon, and this is very, very pivotal because, going back to my notes here, the Aquarius new moon itself is going to be like a total disconnect. I'm kind of contemplating just making a whole separate video for this, so this one's not too long, but the Aquarius new moon is going to be a complete disconnect. This is where it's like, okay, everybody's on board. No, well, sucks to suck. Unplug. And you no longer psychologically deal with things that aren't conducive to your progress, to your future, to advancement. This is a side of Aquarian energy where people recognize that it's very important to have emotional intelligence so that you can detach from things that literally do not serve you. It's like you don't want to stay caught up in emotional states or mindsets about things in the past that either didn't work out, or oh, maybe I should have done this. No, this is what I'm saying, do what you got to do now. Do what you want to do, live what you want to live, make the choices that you want to make, because once that new moon hits, you're going to have a lot of revelations about things that you wanted the answer to, but now that you have the answer, it gives you that peace of mind, but you're still moving forward regardless if you had that answer or not. But that answer will kind of give you a new perspective, so that whenever you do move forward in your own direction, you have a deeper understanding of just things. The Aquarian energy does not care about leaving things behind. It does not care about letting go of things in order to move forward. And this is not because it's heartless or detached or unemotional. No, this is simply because, again, emotional maturity. When you know that you have a limited capacity, you have to be able to make room for things instead of just sitting there like, well, you know, I don't want to let go of this, I don't want to let go of that, but you don't have time for that. Make a choice, move on. Make a choice and keep moving forward in that direction. This is why being authentically you and really feeling yourself live authentically is so important, because it'll be easier for you to make those decisions, for you to make those cuts. This is why, low-key, Aquariuses sometimes can really be at the top of their game whenever they're really balanced, because it's like they just know. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't want to say nothing is new under the sun, but that concept, it's like, okay, now let me stop. I know I could do better. Let me go do better. Period. Sorry about your feelings, but I gotta go do this right now. Obviously don't do that. Deal with things properly. Deal with what you have to disconnect with properly, but understand that cuts will be made. Changes will be made, because it's time to move forward regardless of how hard you're hanging on. Essentially, this is a new moon where it's like change or be changed without the courtesy of being asked. So make the changes before life forces you to do them. Whenever the new moon occurs, it's going to be a time where you can see the reality of the energy behind something for exactly what it is. You don't have to be like, well, they're wearing that. No. As soon as you see the person or the thing or the experience, you'll be like, yeah, okay, I feel the truth of this. I feel it. Okay, yeah, no, I don't resonate with this. Or yeah, I do resonate with this. Or this person is kind of shady. You're not gonna have time to I don't know, is this person shady? No, you're gonna know. And if you even try to vacillate, you'll know that you're playing yourself by not recognizing your own truth, by recognizing the reality that your intentions are trying to express or convey. Don't play yourself. You know what you know. See the reality of things. See the reality of the people that you interact with. Connect with others. Take action. When Mercury is going to sextile Mars in Sagittarius, this is a time where you take that initial step, especially towards manifesting what it is that you want, because it's all about that first step. The beginning sometimes is usually the hardest part, but once you get the ball going, it becomes a lot easier. You will have the opportunity around you. It's just up for you to recognize that the opportunity is there. January 28th, Mars is going to be square Neptune. This is going to be the unveiling of illusion, where you will be able to see the higher wisdom, the truth, the revelation about a particular experience, somebody. It doesn't matter the what or the context, but it's just the notion that you will be able to see through the projection. So now you'll be able to understand the reality and the truth behind something. You'll be able to essentially, how Neptune, it's like it teaches you something so you understand what it isn't or what it is. Well, this is the time where you will see what something truly is based off of having experienced what it isn't. And with this Mars being in Sagittarius, you cannot hide from the reality that you're going to perceive or understand. Whether you're aware, like, okay, you know what? I have been, doing a lot in my life and I'm doing pretty good. Okay, cool. We're going into February. Yeah, I can change some of these things, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. We're moving forward. It doesn't have to be something necessarily too crazy. It's just the whole concept of, sorry, my eyelash. It's just the whole concept of keeping it real, but at an experience level. Because now your actions and how you've moved, how you've done things, the consequences of your actions are coming to the forefront, are being realized. Consequences not in a bad way, but it's just the reality of the steps you've taken and how they've led you up to where you are today. Because the square that it makes to Neptune and Pisces, it's two energies Sagittarius and Pisces are two energies that do the same thing or see the same thing differently. The essence of their concept is the same, but the nature of it is different. That's why they square. On February 9th, we're having a full moon in Leo. And this is going to be a time where now we're going to be very relationship focused, people focused, focused on just our one-on-one connections with people. This is going to be a time where how you connect with people is largely based off of what you've been doing in the past, how you've been doing things in the past. Whether you've recognized that some things need to change and you do things differently, or you recognize what worked for you and you kind of like innovate on that, it doesn't really matter. It's just the full moon in Leo is going to be a time now where we connect at our core, at our heart. Because after February, it's going to be Aries season. And let me double check right quick, because I feel like, hang on. Where is Planet Watcher? Real quickly, I pulled up the transits for March 20th, Aries season, whenever we fully enter 2020 and we leave, we're done with 2019. It's going to be an intense day. On the day that the sun ingresses into Aries, marking the full new year, Saturn is going to enter Aquarius. The moon is going to enter Aquarius. Jupiter and Mars are going to be conjunct in Capricorn, solidifying the new reality, the new perspective. It's like the past is done. Done, done, done. Where you are now is what you are moving forward with. Because Saturn being in Aquarius and the moon being in Aquarius, squaring Venus in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus, you have to be able to perceive things differently now. You have to be able to see reality in a whole new way. Because another thing too is Mercury is going to be in Pisces. So this is a lot of energy that requires you to now have a transformed perspective on things moving forward. March 22nd, from what Planet Watcher says, it's plus or minus 1 or 2 days. That's when Saturn goes into Aquarius. That's going to be a time where things really, really hit. Like, really hit. When the sun ingresses into Aries, it's going to be like January 1st, 2020, but an even bigger explosion. It's going to be starting with a bang. Like, Aries season is going to be a banger. The moon in Aquarius, I just find it really funny that the moon's going to be Aquarius and Mercury is going to be in Pisces. It's like, the only logic really you have is your emotional intelligence when the moon is in Aquarius. But mentally, with the Mercury being in Pisces, you're going to have to go strongly off of your intuition and what you feel to be true, what you feel within. This is why I keep reiterating. It's very important for you to now establish the necessary integrity in your own emotional state or nature, whatever you want to call it. Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto are all going to be within like 3 to 4 degrees of each other whenever that happens. So the intensity is there. Yes, it's going to be less now that Saturn is going to go into Aquarius, but it's a different kind of intensity. It's a lot psychological. It's a kind of intensity that hits you in your psyche. What's going to matter now is essentially, not just, I'm not bossy, I'm the boss, but what flavor is this tea? Because it's not about the package itself, it's what's in the package, what's in the box. I'll make a separate video for the Aquarius new moon. To conclude, keep your emotional integrity in check. Don't deceive yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be true to yourself and with others. Because if you're able to do that with yourself, by default, it's going to be easier for you to do that with people. How you treat other people is a reflection of you. If you would like a natal chart analysis, a full one, you can go on nebulaclub.net. Or I also offer a discourse, which is basically, you can ask me 2 questions, inquiries, or prompts. Whatever, just as long as it's 2 specific things, and the recording is 15 minutes long, and I'll answer. So yeah, it's great for, you know, if you have transits you want to look at. If you have questions in regards to your chart or whatever, and you don't want a full natal chart, that's another option. So this concludes the video. Thank you so much, and till next time.